A document from 1549 sleeps in the basements of the Archivo General de Indias in Seville. It is titled the Book of the Assessment of the Naturals of the Province of Yauyos. It is a colonial inventory, seemingly mundane. It lists the gold and silver confiscated by the Spanish from the Incas. But one line on the reverse of folio 47 mentions an amount of gold that far exceeds the shipments officially recorded as arriving in Spain. The archives of the Casa de Contratación show no such quantity. The official document states one thing. The treasury itself states another. The question remains, why was this figure never extracted from the official registers? This document is not an isolated case. On November 16, 1533, Francisco Pizarro signed the Foundation of the City of the Kings. It details the confiscation of Atahualpa's gold. This text is known, cited, and classified. But in 1553, Pedro Cieza de Leon published the Chronicle of Peru. He writes that the Incas had accumulated an infinite amount of gold. He speaks of temples entirely covered in metal. He claims the Spanish seized only a fraction of it. In 1609, Inca Garcilaso de la Vega went further. In his Royal Commentaries of the Incas, he asserts that the Incas deliberately hid a portion of their treasure before the arrival of the conquistadors. He describes secret sanctuaries and sealed grottos. These two testimonies exist. They are preserved in libraries. But they contradict official reports. Official reports claim all the gold was collected and shipped. The entry records from the port of Seville show shipments, but quantities significantly lower than the descriptions. This is a documented contradiction. Yet, these testimonies were never integrated into the official version. The archives of the Spanish Inquisition show that some writings by Garcilaso were examined. A handwritten note in the margin indicates, contains unauthorized information. But it was not erased. Why was it preserved, yet ignored? In 1847, William Prescott published The Conquest of Peru. He relied on these sources. He mentions a mysterious disappearance. But the original manuscript by Prescott, held at the Library of Congress, contains chapters that were never published. One of these chapters details an inventory of Atahualpa's gold. The official inventory lists approximately 13,000 pounds of gold. But Prescott found an unpublished document, a memoria, from 1535, which values the treasure at over 50,000 pounds. Where did the rest go? The Manuscript of Huarochirí, dated 1608, is a document written in Quechua and Spanish by a Jesuit priest. It describes the beliefs of the Incas in the Huarochirí region. It mentions a sanctuary of gold within a sacred mountain. Modern historians, like John Hemming, note the Spanish never discovered this sanctuary. Recent UNESCO archives, declassified in 2022, contain a 1987 report by Italian archaeologists who located a structure beneath the jungle north of Cusco, matching these descriptions. The report recommends excavations. But the Peruvian government refuses. Why? The available documents suggest that an Inca gold shipment arrived in Spain. But the remainder was melted down and used locally. The Crown accounts show payments in gold for wars in Europe. The surplus gold has no clear source. What remains unexplained is the numerical gap. If you add up the gold confiscated according to all colonial documents, you arrive at approximately 200,000 pounds. Entries in Spain show only 30,000. Where are the remaining 170,000 pounds? The Inca testimonies say, hidden. The Spanish documents say, lost at sea. But no ship carrying gold was ever reported sunk at that time. So, who knew? And who profits from this silence? A 2015 study by the Andean Studies Institute revealed that the archives of the Archivo General de Indias concerning the period 1535 to 1560 are incomplete. Entire pages are missing from the records of the Casa de Contratación. The archivists claim this is due to a fire in the 18th century. But the missing pages are precisely those covering the years 1533 to 1535, the most crucial period. Coincidence? Until now, one might believe that Inca gold was lost to history. But a line in the Manuscript of Huarochirí poses a problem. It states, "The gold of the Inca rests beneath the mountain that touches the sky." No known archaeological site matches this description. In 2025, LiDAR surveys of the Vilcabamba region, conducted by a Japanese team, revealed a geometric anomaly beneath the canopy. A structure, 200 meters in size, was hidden from view. The satellite images are public. Yet, in January 2026, the Peruvian government classified the area as a protected archaeological zone prohibited from excavation. Why ban excavations if nothing is hidden? The question now is not whether the treasure exists. It is why they refuse to find it. What if what we have seen is not an anomaly, but a pattern? The language in the 1983 McDonnell report is technical. It is precise. It is surgical. It does not speculate. It describes a mechanism. Yet, a 30-page document written by a senior officer for INSCOM does not end with a trivial footnote. It ends with a transmission marker. The archives show these transmissions never stopped in 1995. The program was publicly dissolved. But the methodologies were merely reclassified. They were absorbed by the DIA. They were absorbed by the Joint Staff's J7. In 2017, an article in the Military Review reproduced the holographic description of time word for word. There were no quotation marks. There were no references. Knowledge simply changed compartments. If a document is science, the only anomaly is that the instruction manual was left behind. This was not the only program the Pentagon chose to bury. But it was the only one whose manual remained accessible. In 1987, a line in an internal INSCOM memorandum, obtained via FOIA in 2023, mentions personnel redistribution. 3 analysts from the Grill Flame program were reassigned. There is no public statement. There is no trace of this movement. Their names subsequently appeared on a Defense Intelligence Agency report from 2003. This report detailed electronic warfare in the cognitive domain. In 2017, the Military Review published an article signed by a colonel describing the interaction between consciousness and the spatiotemporal matrix. The wording is an exact copy of paragraph 17 from the McDonnell report. No sources are cited. The original document was declassified in 2003. However, pages 14 through 18 were only released to the public in 2021. Why the delay? On a non-certified copy, a handwritten note dates back to 1991. It requests an estimation of the offensive potential of the techniques on page 15. The technique did not die. It was changing hands. It shifted from fundamental research to weaponry. In 2024, a Senate hearing mentioned perceptual anomalies in U.S. Space Force operations. The file does not reach a conclusion. It states a fact. Science never stopped. Only transparency ceased. The manual remained. The protocols of the gateway process are now downloadable. Thousands of people study them. What remains unexplained is not the technique itself. It is the decision to keep it carefully outside public debate while simultaneously locating it within classified documents 2 decades later. A 2024 Senate report mentions cognitive perception operations in the spatial domain. The final question is not whether it works. The question is who still uses it. Under what code name? And in what silence? Episode 4 of this series explores the transformation of this program in the 2000s. When the official cognitive war began.